Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Sam from the Bulletproof Point podcast at the Bulletproof Table with Bulletproof Ideas. I'm back again with,
Patrick Umans.
and today we're gonna be talking about trends for 2018.
That's what's up.
What they held, what we liked about them, what we didn't like about them, things that we enjoy ourselves when in relation to fashion, maybe some music if we get time to it, and yeah, let's get right into it. So Patrick, the first thing I wanted to talk about was what kind of style do you have? What do you describe it? What do you normally look for in items of clothes and stuff like that? Like what's your general style like?
For sure, yeah. I mean, this year my style has definitely changed. I mean, if I look back at pictures of me from like freshman year, it's
Yeah.
hilarious how different I look. But yeah, I mean, I think my sense of style has become a lot more apparent in the last year. I definitely go for more of like a streetwear vibe now. And I like very vibrant outfits with colors, very um colors that just pop.
Things that
I
are
really like
unique.
that.
You
Yeah, for
stand
sure.
out.
Yeah, I like to stand out in a crowd. If I see like a bunch of different people and I'm wearing like yellow and purple or something like that, like you'd see and you're like, oh, that's Patrick.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, I love layering, putting shirts and hoodies over it, stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say that I'm definitely more of a streetwear wearer.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're into brands like Supreme, Bathing Ape, things like that, Off-White.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a hype beast, but I do enjoy, hype brands, I guess. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm wearing Supreme underwear right now. That might be TMI, but but I enjoy Supreme. I have a couple Supreme items. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy some of the designs of Bape and Off-White, and yeah, for sure. I think a lot of shoes were really big in 2018.
Absolutely.
The Fear of God, that was one of my favorite collabs that they did with Vans.
Vans.
That's one of my all-time favorite shoes. I would love to own one of those one day.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Vans had a very big year this year, I think, with all the
Oh
all
yeah,
the
the
collaborations that they
collaborations were
did.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually copped a pair of the Snoopy Vans, which are some
Snoopy.
of my favorite. I just like the design. I love Snoopy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Charlie Brown and the Peanuts, bro. That's a fire
Oh
outfit,
yeah, bro.
I think.
It's fire, bro.
Yeah.
Especially with my Peanuts like book, it's
It's
Charlie
perfect.
Brown is like it's right there. What would you say are some of your or what how would you describe your style, your fashion?
I think I'm not as flashy. I'm more of like a darker color or just a white. So I like as I'm seeing right like as I'm wearing right now. If you guys can see in the YouTube video, or if you're just watching on the podcast, I'm wearing like a white hoodie with a black jacket over it. And I kind of agree with you in the sense that like I really like to layer. I think that for me, especially since I don't do like a lot of color, it's a little bit harder for me to like stand out and things like that. So I think a great way to do that is to add maybe a really light shirt or a really light jacket over like a hoodless jacket, and then I just layer those like onto darker colors, and so that it just makes more of like a pop, and it makes it look more complex than if I were just
Yeah,
to wear
for
like
sure.
a white t-shirt or something like that.
Who would you say are some of your style influencers of this year? Like what celebrities or people who would you look for inspiration?
That's a good question, because if I had the budget for it, I'd probably like go for like more of like a Jaden Smith vibe, just because
Yeah.
of like I really like the way that he'll do like denim on camo and be able to pull it off. He'll
For
do
sure. Yeah, he does
reds,
some crazy stuff.
reds with denim blue, and like all these really weird combinations that really pull off. I want to be able to hopefully one day be able to go into that much like depth and like complexity. I really like the way he accessorizes. I love accessories. Things like bags, either whether it's like a fanny pouch that you wear around your waist, or you wear around your chest, or like a shoulder bag. I love like rings and necklaces and chains and stuff like that. I feel like that's like a really good way to kind of like express yourself if you're not as expressive with things like clothing. If you know
Yeah,
what
I
mean.
agree, and I think accessories are really cool. They can really just add some more character to an outfit. Today I'm wearing a ring and a watch and a necklace. And I just think
Exactly.
it adds more to the outfit.
Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be a part of the clothes. It's more of like I feel like jewelry is a flashier way to express yourself.
For
Not
sure.
necessarily in a bad way, but
Yeah, no, it can be good.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and especially, yeah, I agree. I love Jaden Smith. I love his style, and I think what's so interesting about it is just he does stuff that nobody would think about
Out of the
wearing. And
norm.
we look at that and we're like, wow, that's crazy. But at the same time, it's like he pulls it off. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say I agree with that. Jaden Smith is really cool. I also look. Travis Scott has a very cool streetwear
Yeah.
vibe. I definitely look towards him. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely like with streetwear, I try to go for that vibrant look, but I also
Yeah.
go for a matching look. Like today, if you can see on the YouTube video, uh, I'm not very popping today, but I'm going with some matching green and browns. So I definitely like to coordinate my outfits in that way.
Yeah. So you like being flashy, but of course you still gotta match.
For sure, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes I do some stuff that's like doesn't match that. I mean, I usually try to match, but
Yeah.
it just depends. Sometimes it's more neutral colors, and sometimes it's like vibrant.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting. I like that. All right. So another thing that we're gonna be talking about is favorite brands and collaborations that they had this year. I know that earlier you talked about the Vans, either Fear of God or the Peanuts or Snoopy Vans. I was wondering if you had like an idea for streetwear collaborations that you did. I know, for example, I really like the Nike Off-White collaborations that they did.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was wondering, do you have anything maybe either more streetwear related or anything else that you wanted to bring up with collaborations?
Yeah, I mean the Nike Off-Whites are always, they're always super popular when they drop. I've tried to get a couple of them, but I've been
Yeah.
unfortunate not able to. I also went for the Fear of God a couple times and I failed on that one.
Yeah.
I try, I definitely try.
Been there, been there.
But we're learning. It's a learning process,
Exactly.
trying to get growth.
Exactly.
As we talked about in our last podcast, trying to grow as humans.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean definitely Fear of God is one of my favorite brands. I love the concept behind it. I love the idea, and the brand itself just has such a good meaning behind it, And I think that a lot of brands just go for what's popular nowadays, but I think Fear of God
Exactly.
definitely stands out, and they mirror Jaden Smith's style in a sense with
Mm-hmm.
the uniqueness of it, and that really
Yeah.
attracts it to me.
I think that with Fear of God, it's great because it's not it's maybe not as vibrant. So like people like me could enjoy it more because it's more cream
Yeah, there's lots
colored,
of neutrals.
white colored,
Exactly.
black, maybe like a dark blue or something like that. And then, but they also have like a really cool streetwear vibe to it with the Vans when they have like the Fear of God written all over it.
For
And
sure.
that could be more for people like you, which I think is really cool. A really cool thing that Fear of God did with their collaborations.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, there's a lot of trends of 2018 that I didn't like at all, in the
Yeah.
beginning, but
I can agree.
they grow on you, Like I'll be
Mhm.
honest, the dad shoe, I never thought that would be a look.
The dad shoe, as in
like chunky, like the chunky
the
shoes,
chunky shoes,
like big,
Balenciaga,
yeah, like
Triple
Balenciaga,
S
exactly,
shoes. Okay,
exactly.
that makes sense.
I never
get
thought
that.
that those would be a look, but now I own a
Yeah.
pair that is very similar to that. So
Uh-huh. Yep.
it's interesting how trends, sort of grow on you.
Yeah. Trends are, they always pop up out of nowhere. I think when you least expect it. I know for me, I really, one of my favorite collaborations I had throughout the year was the Bathing Ape and then Naruto collaboration. I don't really watch a lot of anime. The only thing I have watched is Naruto. I'm a really big fan of it. And when I heard that they were dropping that, I was super excited. I think it was so cool that they invited like a great collaboration for a series that is so big. Like
For sure.
a ton of anime series are huge and super long. I think it was really awesome that they included a whole bunch of characters that are fan favorites, and they also added characters from the sequel series Boruto. And I was like, I really wanted something from that drop. Sadly, I didn't get anything, but yeah, I think
You tried.
I
remember you showed up
tried.
to government class. You're like, I didn't get it.
I tried, but they had some really cool stuff. I think the idea of collaborations is what draws me to a brand more. I think if you collaborate with like a TV show or a popular movie, I think you're way more likely to gain a following from that. Especially like companies like Bape and Supreme
Oh
do
yeah,
a lot
I think
of
Supreme
collaborations.
does a really good job of that, and obviously Supreme's a really popular brand right now.
Yeah.
It's very hype, and so they do a lot of collaborations with Levi's, anywhere
Yeah.
from Levi's to Tim's, or even I don't even what are some of the weird
Just-
ones that they do
Just
like
normal people like Marvin Gaye.
Hanes. I
you
don't
could
know.
have-
They do
Yeah,
it with
Hanes.
everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, I think they're a prime example of collaborations and reaching out to all different types of people because even they just released a skate video, which
Yeah,
which
blessed.
yeah, the blessed
Blessed.
skate video, and that reached a broader audience, which I think was really
Yeah.
cool.
I think it's interesting, especially with Supreme being both a high-end fashion brand and a streetwear brand at the same time, or at least that's what their goal was. The fact that I feel like recently they've been pushing more towards designer, but now when they released the Blessed video. I think that was really cool because they kind of like tied it back to their roots. And
Yeah,
what they were
that exactly.
originally
They
like.
went back to the roots because I mean they started as a skate company, and now it's
Yeah.
like this big hype company. I mean, I think I see a different vision in it now, but I think that was really cool, just going back to their roots, as you said,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think that was great.
What brands do you think are going to be big in 2019? If you had to guess.
I think that in 2019, Nike shoes are gonna be huge
For sure, especially the collaborations.
I think Jordan ones and
Yeah.
just a Jordan specifically are gonna be gigantic
Oh,
next
yeah.
year, especially because Travis Scott and his popularity from Astroworld, his collaboration with Nike is gonna be I think
I'm
insane.
so excited for
I think
those
it's
to
gonna be
release.
insane.
I really hope I can
His
get a
Cactus
pair.
Jacks are
I
gonna
really
be
hope
actually out of this world.
It's crazy. I remember I went to the Astroworld concert earlier this
Mhm.
month, and he gave the microphone to a fan at one point,
Oh,
and the
that's
fan was
insane.
like, the fan lost his voice already, and it was like 2 songs into the concert, and the fan was like, "I love you, Travis. Like, I want your shoes, bro. Like the
Yes.
Nikes, I love them."
You know it.
I
It's the
honestly thought
best.
Travis was gonna give them to him, but he didn't.
Oh, come on, Travis.
I know he played
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, he kind of did play him. But yeah.
Yeah, so talking about Travis Scott, now how about we talk about music in 2018? What was big? So I know I really enjoyed Travis Scott's Astroworld in 2019. I went to the concert and I listened to the music. What were your thoughts on that album?
Astroworld. I'm a huge rap fan. I love listening to rap music. I wouldn't consider myself like a big fan of the genre, but I think that basically Travis Scott's Astroworld was interesting to me. I was not a fan of it at first at all.
Yeah.
I listened to it and I was like, what is this? There's literally, this doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, when I heard
Especially-
Sicko Mode the first time, I hated it. I was like, what
I
the
listened
heck?
to
This is so weird.
Stargazing. I listened to like Yosemite. I listened to or Yosemite.
Yosemite, bro. It's
Sorry,
called
I don't know why I
Yosemite.
call it
He calls
Yosemite.
Yosemite.
Okay, whatever. That was an accident. Okay, and like Sicko
Yosemite
Mode,
is a national
I mean,
park in
just
California.
the sporadicness, the idea of it, just it was all over the place, especially in Sicko Mode when it starts off with a slower type beat,
For sure.
and then it kicks into it, and then some point in the song it like actually just stops and switches to a completely different beat. I did not like that at
Yeah,
first.
no, it was confusing to me. And the first time I heard it, I honestly thought it was a different song.
Almost,
the
almost.
Yeah,
I
the
really
same thing
thought
happened
so.
to me. I've looked back on this and it's silly, but I listened to Frank Ocean a lot this year. I got into
Yeah.
him around November of 2017,
Okay.
and his song Nights. Every single time that came
Yeah.
on, I thought it was 2 separate songs, and I was like, "This is crazy," because I didn't have Spotify Premium at the time, and it just like every single time, I thought it was 2 separate songs, and they played randomly right after each other.
Yeah.
I was like, what are the odds of that? I don't have
Every
Spotify
time.
Premium. It just
Every
every time it's
time.
perfect. I'm like,
That's
wow,
so
that's awesome.
funny.
I loved both of these songs, and it's only one song. So the same thing happened with Sicko Mode, and I was just confused. I didn't understand it.
Yeah. I
But
think.
like other trends, it grew on me.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's just because of the hype. I enjoy the song now, but I think that is something interesting because there's a lot of trends that are popular
Mhm.
that become more hype, and I think that might have an influence on why we enjoy them.
Yeah, for sure. I think yeah, and sometimes trends don't last at all.
Oh yeah, there's
Sometimes-
fads for
Yeah,
sure.
like I think those are really interesting. But yeah, I think one thing that I saw about Travis Scott's Astroworld that I found really interesting was just like I think one of the reasons why I started to enjoy it more was just because the fact that it was I don't know where I saw it. I think I saw it on a documentary or something like that. But I heard that Travis thought of the song since his album cover is of amusement park,
Yeah,
and that's like the whole theme of it.
yeah, in Texas.
Is I heard that they were doing everything based off of like all the songs were based off of roller coasters. They start like kind of slower and work their way to the top, and then towards the middle is where it's all coming in. It's all the interesting parts, all like the melodies and stuff like that to make it like a drop, and then
That's cool.
you sort of hit the bumps, the ups and downs of roller coasters. Sometimes there's a loop, like which is what I think Sicko Mode gave us when the beat stops and it changes
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that
for
that's
sure.
like almost like a loop, and so I think that was super interesting. How I heard he was like basing the album off of an amusement park.
Yeah,
Like,
it's such
I've
a
never
cool
heard of that before.
concept. It's like it's crazy, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and especially on tour, his concert was amazing. Like the production
Yeah,
value, freaking amazing,
I
bro.
heard. I've
He
seen
he brought
everything.
a roller coaster on stage. Like
And
who has done that
who
before, you
puts
know?
a roller
He went
coaster
on a roller
on a
coaster. He
concert
brought fans
stage?
on a roller
Who
coaster.
put
Dude, it was
who does it?
crazy.
Who does it?
So, yeah, I think that I always I mean, as a musician, you know, I just really enjoy hearing the concept behind albums. It inspires me,
Hmm.
especially when it's so different like that and nobody does stuff like that. You know, it's really
Yeah.
cool
It being unique, and then
for
also
sure.
like maybe having like a deeper meaning, I guess, instead of it just being like, oh yeah, I made this. Like Travis Scott could have easily have been like, yeah, I just didn't like the beat, and so I switched it halfway. But he was like, no, I like it like a. I'm making this whole album like a roller coaster. It's full of ups and
Exactly.
downs
Yeah,
and
giving it
turns,
purpose for
twists,
sure.
turns. It's. I think the way that he produced that, to fill those, to fill that statement was done really
Yeah,
well.
I agree. And you know, I think especially when it comes to music, you know, I sort of have a pet peeve with a lot of the music that's popular right now and on the radio because I feel like there's
Mm-hmm.
so many songs that just, you know, people are making to try to be popular. You know, they're not
Yeah.
even there's not necessarily even a meaning behind it. They're just making it and putting out songs to try to, you know, make a hit on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy when artists, you know, A, try to put purpose into a song and have a meaning behind it, and B, I do enjoy stories like that of the concept of how
Yeah.
the album was created. That's really inspiring to me. I'm gonna play a clip of Astroworld real quick. So this is one of my favorite songs called "Stop Trying to Be God" on Travis Scott's Astroworld. It might be familiar to you. It might not, but that's one of the songs on the album. You know, that was one of my favorite parts of the concert. He started
Mm-hmm.
singing that, and then the speakers stopped, and I honestly thought there was a technical difficulty because like it was so weird. They just faded
Dang.
out and it stopped, but he just kept going. He was just looking up and he was singing the song, and he
Was
was
he on the roller coaster?
no, he was just standing.
Oh,
He was just
that's
standing. He was
fire.
looking up, and there was like a camera on him, and it showed his face, and he was just talking, and he was saying, you know, I told my homie stop trying to be God. I told myself stop trying to be God, and I just love that. You know,
Wow.
just really seeing the human behind the artist. You know, seeing
Yeah. The
the emotion, the
authenticity.
authenticity, exact like that was the most authentic part of the concert. Like there was no flashiness behind it. There wasn't any fire behind him. It was
Mm-hmm.
just him, no music, and he was just talking as if it was a
About
monologue. You know, like he was saying a
yeah.
poem. So I thought that was really cool. That was one of my favorite things I've seen in
That's
a concert.
awesome. Yeah, I think a cool thing about stuff like that is the theme. I think that when an album has a theme, it talks about like a specific motive, a topic of discussion. I think that that's really huge. I think that with rap nowadays, or I should start with pop nowadays. I feel like at least a lot on the radio, like you said. I don't enjoy as much because I feel like it's a lot of the same
Yeah,
thing. I feel like it's a lot of the same verse, and then they sing like a little chorus, and then they sing the same verse again and again.
for sure.
And with rap, of course, that happens all the time as well. It happens in all genres. But for me personally, I think that rap is a little bit more different in the fact that it's got a lot more of a message to it. It's easier to display the message. It's almost like, I mean, it's kind of like having a conversation in a way, in a weird melodic
Mm.
way. It's having a conversation. People can display their message through music. Of course, that's what a lot of people would do, but I feel like rap is a big genre that they can do that with. They can talk about all sorts of stuff that's on their mind or going on in the world around them. And I think that that's super important in a great way for like to get people to think about stuff like that. Because I mean, sometimes the news doesn't always grab people's attention. Sometimes your favorite artist does, and I think that that's a cool way that people can talk about important topics like that and be able to get more people's minds into those conversations.
Yeah, I love that, and I definitely see that in art. And I think that music influences people so much. There's this rapper that I love named Andy Mineo, and he has this song where he talks about artists where versus the government and you know the president a couple years back, and so
Yeah.
he was saying you know that the artists are the ones that did more for him. You know, it's like not the government that's doing stuff for him because it's like the
Yeah.
artists are what give people hope. The artists are
Artists are a big part of
you know it's a big part of
our lives.
society, so I think
Yeah.
music especially is so big. You know, it gives people hope, it inspires people. You know, sometimes we get so you know bummed out about politics and the government, and
Hmm.
we don't want to really get into that really, but you know that can be hard to see what's going on in the world. But you know music is definitely something that you know can give us lots of emotions. It can you know bring happiness, it can sometimes bring sadness, you know, but
Hmm.
it conveys nostalgia. You know, there's songs that I
Yeah.
love, and it takes me back to a moment. Like I hear that song and it takes me back to that moment when I was, in Seattle. For me, that's Frank Ocean. When I listen to his music, it takes me back to Seattle of 2017, and it's like
Yeah.
these songs that just take me back. So I love music, and it's a really big part of my life.
Yeah, I love that. I think that that's great. I think having music music tied to a memory is really cool. I mean, some people have memories of like, I don't know, they have like their first kiss and they played a song in a car and it happened and they're like, oh, I'll remember that forever, and like I'll remember that song. Or somebody graduates and they play like some song and they're like, oh my god, like I'll remember that song because that's like my graduation song, or this is my song that I always work out to, or something like that. I think that that's really cool that music can always be there for you no matter what. And I mean, I guess going off of, I mean, obviously both you and me liked Astroworld. Are there any other
For sure.
projects that you want to talk about that you really
Yeah,
enjoyed
so
for
I
music?
think 2018, we're talking about trends here.
Mm-hmm.
Post Malone was a very big artist in 2018. So I
Yes,
think
Post
definitely,
Malone.
nearing 2018, the end of 2018, he blew up,
Yeah,
his project Beer Bongs and Bentleys, that was
huge,
crazy huge,
huge.
I'm gonna play a little clip of it real quick.
Yeah, Beer Bongs and Bentleys was gigantic. Even the singles that he put out before even putting out the full album were extremely popular. I think that that was really interesting how he was able to gain so much popularity for the album because of that.
For sure. All right, here's Better Now by Post Malone. So that's just a little clip of his song. That's a really popular one from his album. So I mean, he definitely blew up in
Yeah,
2018. Like he is one of the biggest artists, I'd say.
absolutely, I agree. Yeah, I listened to that album, and that was another album that grew on me. I'm not a huge fan of like all of the songs on it, but I do really like a select few that like I think he did really well.
For sure.
And I think that he presented that album again with like a message, like emotion. He talks about a lot of different things in that, and I really can appreciate that from like the artist's standpoint and point of view.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly like his style. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of all of his music, but I
Mm,
definitely think that there is something special about his style, and
yeah,
it grabs people's attention.
unique.
There's like a certain acoustic vibe that he has, but at the same time, it's like pop.
Yeah,
So it's really interesting. We were just talking about his new song "Wow" that just dropped. What are
yeah.
your thoughts on that?
Have only listened to it like twice, to be quite honest, but I actually was kind of a fan of it. I think I was more of a fan of it because I think for things like for his album, he leaned more towards vocal like more of like a pop vibe, which I
Mm,
know that sometimes he can like he'll do rap sometimes and things like that, but he focused more on like adding rappers. Like I know that he did Rockstar with 21 Savage,
yeah.
and he didn't rap on that because he didn't need to. He had 21 Savage to do the rapping aspect of that. But I think that the fact that he did both pop and rap, I really actually I thought it was kind of fun. I thought it was a fun song, and it was
Mm.
different from the music that he put out before, and I think that was kind of cool how he did a different, not necessarily genre, but a different style, a different style of
Yeah,
music.
it's cool when artists do that. Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, it wasn't my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I only listened to it once, so
Okay,
it'll probably grow on me.
it probably will.
Honestly, some of my favorite songs, the first time I heard them, I hated them,
Yeah,
and then they grew on me. So we'll see. I'll listen to it a couple more times.
yeah. Speaking of Post Malone, there was actually another album I wanted to talk about. Which came from it was a soundtrack of a movie that I just watched.
Yes.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Spider-Man
Spider-Man
one,
Into
bro.
the
I
Spider-Verse.
love that.
It was an amazing movie. If
So
you
good.
haven't
I
seen
haven't
it
seen the
yet,
movie yet. I really want to see
if
it.
you
I
haven't
really
seen
want
it,
to see it.
I watched it. It was a great movie. It's really great for families, by yourself, with somebody else. It doesn't matter. You just guys just got to see it. It was great. And what I did was on accident before I actually listened to the whole soundtrack the day
Nice.
before I watched the movie. And so I was actually and I actually love the
They
soundtrack.
got some good people on
I
there.
think they have well, if especially if you're a fan of rap. I think
Oh
if you're
yeah,
not a
for
fan of
sure.
rap, you probably won't be
Probably not for
interested
you.
in
If you
this.
like country, sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Not for
Country
you.
pop. I mean, I don't. It's probably not for you. But yeah, they had huge names. They had DJ Khaled produce a song. They had Lil Wayne and XXX on it.
Jaden Smith,
They had Jaden Smith. They had
Post Malone.
Amine, Post Malone, Sway Lee,
Yep.
Juice World. They had
So many people.
tons of huge
Lots of big
artist
names
names,
for sure.
and a lot I'm not able to say right now. And it's just I think that the fact that they brought all those artists together and it was I think it was a great soundtrack because it was fantastic in the movie and they used all the songs, which a lot of soundtracks nowadays that go into movies are not all the songs are in the movies,
which is
I
weird.
don't like.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that, but they put all the songs in it in a great spot for the movie, which I loved.
That's awesome.
And then being able to listen to a soundtrack for a movie afterwards and being able to go like, oh, that's from this movie, but also being able to listen to it and be like, you can play it in like a car with your friends or something like that who haven't seen the movie, and they'll be like, oh, I like this song, and it'll be like, yeah, and they're not gonna ask what the heck is this from, or is this from a movie or something like that. You just have to tell them like, hey, check out this song, and they'll be like, oh, it's great. Like I actually love that soundtrack. It was
it's really cool. I'm gonna play a song real quick. So this song Sunflower from that album is one of my favorites on there.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, so I was a huge fan of that album, or the soundtrack at least. That was from Post Malone and Sway Lee. That's one of their more popular songs, Sunflower. But if you guys are interested in any other rappers, I definitely recommend to check it out. Do you have any other soundtracks that you're a fan of for like any movies that kind of came out?
Yeah. So I mean, Spider-Man, I definitely loved.
Yeah.
Sunflower, that was my favorite song. I
amazing.
loved Sunflower. It's so good. Post Malone killed that one. So the soundtrack for Black Panther,
Ooh,
I think that was
Black
really
Panther was
big.
a great
Kendrick
movie.
Lamar killed it. He killed it.
Absolutely
Killed it. It was so good. I
Yeah.
loved it.
No, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Honestly, there's so many good songs on that, album. Like it just takes me back to this summer. I listen to those songs like crazy.
Huge. Yeah,
Vince Staples was on there.
it was another, I guess, album that you
Sway
could play.
Lee.
You could play by itself, and you could play it and know that it was from the soundtrack, or you could play it with other people and they would just like the songs.
Oh yeah,
and
no,
not-
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it wasn't obvious, but it was also like really well put together into the film. I agree.
Yeah, no, they did good, and they had some good collaborations on there. Kendrick Lamar had The Weeknd on one of his songs. I'm gonna play a
Yeah.
clip from it real quick. This is "Pray for Me" with Kendrick Lamar. This was definitely one of my favorite songs. I really enjoyed that song on the album. I mean, the whole album was really well done.
Yeah.
It's just it stands alone, and it also fits so well in the movie, And Black Panther was obviously a very big movie in 2018.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
It was cool. It was cool.
It was
They
really
killed
good.
it. But yeah, I mean, Kendrick Lamar absolutely killed it.
He's
All of the songs, fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great artist. Always produces some like really well, like good quality stuff. So I think it
Yeah.
was a good pick for them to do that.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, he is such a good. I just enjoy his voice.
Yeah.
He raps and it's just like a nice sound.
It's not completely different, but it's unique in its own way that
Yeah.
you can distinctly tell who he is. But it's not like
Yeah, it's not like,
off-putting.
oh, it's great. Yeah, I mean, like, there's some people just have a nice voice when they either sing or they rap.
Yeah.
Like I've really enjoyed Kodak Black's voice this year. Like
Oh.
I've gotten into some of his music, and his voice is just so unique to me, and I really enjoy it.
It's really
Like
different.
I hear it, and he's like, okay, yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
vibe with it in a different way.
Yeah, it's cool.
more of a acquired taste when it comes to the music and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you all for listening. Again, I'm Sam.
My name is Patrick Humans, and we're gonna play one more song for you guys. This was up and coming artist this year that we didn't talk about. We meant to talk about him, but here's one of his songs. I don't know if you've heard it before. Have you heard this one?
I think I have. Who's it by again though?
His name is what's his name? It's Patrick. Humans.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, it's me.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh,
I
it's your
forgot.
song.
That was
yeah,
my song.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hecka forgot.
Well, I mean,
It was a bop. Not gonna lie.
it's
Not
a
gonna
good
lie.
song.
Check it out.
Check it-
Self promo.
check it out on Spotify.
Spotify,
Link it in
iTunes,
the
all the
description,
above.
both
Link
for
in the
YouTube
description.
and Spotify.
Check it out, bro. Best
Check it out.
shot, Patrick Humans. I'm not gonna lie, I mess with this song. It's pretty fun.
I hope that you mess with that song.
Yeah, I
because you
do.
made it.
I do. I did make it.
But so yeah, if you guys are listening on the podcast, make sure to check out our YouTube channel in the description below. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to check out our Spotify podcast in the description below. And yeah, thank
Again,
you to
we
our,
appreciate you all for listening and tuning in, especially if you stayed to the end. You're
Yes,
awesome.
thank you. And thank you to the tech crew. Thank you to our technical director, Hondro, again, for another great production. And yeah, we'll talk to you all later.
That's all we have today. Have a fantastic day, evening, or night, wherever you're at.
See you later.
See ya.
Today is a brand new opportunity to show yourself off, yeah. Cause we're not perfect, but we're worth it. Yeah, we're worth it. Yeah, we're worth it. Yeah,
He's
we're
jamming
worth
to my
it.
song.
Yeah,
You see
you're
Andre back there?
perfect.
Our technical director is just listening to the best shot. I love it. I love it. You guys should check it out. If you want to. But like honestly, you should. Like Sam even likes it.
It's a good song. It's not rap.
It's not rap. Maybe my next one will be rap.
God, you've given me a love for this life, and I will sacrifice my time.